Why do most people fail at success? It is not because they were born without talent. It is not because they lacked opportunity. And it is certainly not because life has been unfair to them. The truth is sharper, more piercing, and harder to accept. Most people fail at success because they never learn to master themselves. They wake up each morning enslaved by habit, distracted by noise, seduced by comfort. They let the world dictate their rhythm instead of commanding their own. They chase quick rewards, yet ignore the principles that build empires. And in doing so, they drift, drifting through life as if success were an accident, not a deliberate creation. Look around you. Everywhere you go, you will find men and women with great dreams, powerful intentions, and the fire of desire burning in their hearts. Yet, years later, the fire has dimmed. The dreams have been buried and the intentions forgotten. What happened? What extinguished that flame? It wasn't the lack of intelligence. Edison failed 10,000 times before he gave the world the electric light. It wasn't the lack of resources. Andrew Carnegie started as a poor immigrant boy, yet became the steel king of America. And it wasn't luck, because luck never builds lasting greatness. What happened is this: people failed to build the inner fortress of belief, discipline, and clarity. They failed to construct the foundation that success demands. Success is not something you stumble upon. It is something you become. It is a reflection of your inner world. If you are disorganized inside, your life will be chaotic outside. If you are filled with fear, hesitation, and doubt, your results will mirror that weakness. But if your mind is disciplined, if your vision is clear, if your purpose is unshakable, then the external world has no choice but to bend to your will. The battlefield of success has never been out there in the economy, in the marketplace, in politics, or in circumstances. The true battlefield is within the mind. It is in those silent hours when no one is watching, when the alarm rings before dawn, when the temptation to quit whispers louder than the call of your vision. That is where success is won or forever lost. Most people fail because they spend more time studying the lives of others than they do mastering themselves. They scroll endlessly, drowning in comparison, measuring their worth against illusions and carefully edited stories. They do not realize that while they are distracted, time is silently robbing them. Every moment spent envying another man's journey is a moment stolen from building your own. Consider Henry Ford. He was mocked, ridiculed, and called insane for believing that automobiles could replace horses. Even his closest advisors tried to persuade him to give up. But Ford understood a truth that most ignore. Vision precedes reality. The world does not shape the visionary. The visionary shapes the world. He held his belief with iron discipline, and because of that, the horse disappeared from the streets and the age of automobiles was born. Why do most fail? Because they let the world's laughter break their spirit. Because they surrender to rejection instead of using it as fuel. Because they want applause before achievement, recognition before resilience, rewards before sacrifice. But listen closely. Success does not bow to the impatient. It does not reveal itself to the distracted. It is a jealous master, demanding everything you are before granting anything in return. Most fail because they expect success to be easy. They forget that every empire was built on years of invisible labor. Walt Disney was rejected over 300 times before anyone believed in his vision of Disneyland. 300 rejections, yet he persisted because he knew that failure is not the opposite of success. It is the womb from which success is born. The truth is harsh, but it is liberating. Most people fail at success because they never commit to becoming the kind of person success demands. They want the crown without carrying the cross. They want the fruit without planting the seed. They want the reward without the transformation. But life does not work that way. Life demands proof. Life demands discipline. Life demands sacrifice. And only the few who rise each day with a burning vision, who carve their minds into weapons of clarity and resilience, will ever taste the sweetness of true achievement. So the question is not whether success is possible. It always has been, always will be. The question is, will you pay the price? Or will you join the majority, drifting, complaining, and failing? Not because you could not succeed, but because you chose not to master yourself. Success begins in the mind, and yet this is where most people lose the battle before it even begins. They think of success as something external: money, possessions, status, applause. But the truth is, all those things are byproducts. They are the shadows cast by something far greater, the state of your mind. Think of belief as the soil, vision as the seed, and discipline as the water. Without belief, no seed will ever take root. Without vision, you plant nothing. And without discipline, the seed dies before it bears fruit. Most people fail because their soil is poisoned with doubt. Their inner dialogue is filled with words like, I can't, I'm not ready, I don't deserve it. They sabotage themselves before the world even has a chance to oppose them. They underestimate the destructive power of doubt. It is not just hesitation, it is a silent killer of dreams. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election. He was mocked, ridiculed, and told he would never lead. He battled depression so dark it nearly consumed him, and yet his belief refused to die. That unshakable inner conviction carried him to the presidency, and through it, he held a fractured nation together. Belief is not a luxury. It is the oxygen of achievement. Without it, you suffocate before you rise. But belief alone is not enough. For belief without clarity is like fire without direction. It burns wildly, but achieves nothing. You must know what you want, and you must define it with precision. Most people wander through life with vague wishes. I want to be happy. I want to be successful. I want to be rich. But wishes are not goals. Wishes are clouds. Goals are mountains, and only mountains can be climbed. Napoleon Hill wrote that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Yet, how many live with it? How many can stand and declare with certainty, this is my vision, this is my purpose, this is the life I will create, no matter the cost? The truth is, very few, and that is why very few ever succeed. Consider Thomas Edison. He did not vaguely hope to invent something. His clarity was surgical. He was determined to bring light to the world, to create a safe, reliable, and affordable form of illumination that would end humanity's dependence on candles and gas lamps. That definiteness of purpose carried him through thousands of failures. Every test, every burnt filament, every experiment gone wrong was not a defeat. It was a step closer to the vision he saw so clearly. Clarity is power. Without it, you are a ship without a compass, tossed by the winds of distraction. With it, you can endure storms. You can face ridicule. You can withstand years of labor, for you are guided by a vision greater than any obstacle. But even belief and clarity cannot stand without discipline. And here lies another reason why most fail. They cannot command themselves. They cannot say no to distraction, no to laziness, no to the fleeting comforts that steal their destiny. Discipline is the bridge between intention and reality. Without it, dreams are forever trapped in the realm of fantasy. Discipline is waking up when the bed whispers, "Stay." It is working when no one is watching. It is persisting when progress seems invisible. It is sacrificing today's pleasure for tomorrow's greatness. Every man and woman who has carved their name into history has done so on the altar of discipline. Andrew Carnegie did not rise from poverty to steel magnate because of chance. He rose because of relentless discipline. He mastered the art of focusing his energy, cutting away distractions, and channeling his effort with precision. The world rewarded his discipline with wealth beyond measure. Most people, however, surrender to the easy path. They let emotion govern action instead of principle. They allow the mood of the moment to dictate the trajectory of their lives. And so, their dreams decay. Not because they lacked opportunity, but because they lacked discipline. Understand this: success is not a mystery. It has always been governed by the same laws. Believe in yourself when the world doubts you. See with clarity when others are blind. Act with discipline when others fall asleep. These three, belief, clarity, discipline, are the foundations of greatness. But remember, the world will test you. It will challenge your belief, blur your clarity, and tempt you to abandon your discipline. And this is where most will fail. They crumble under pressure, forgetting that pressure is not punishment. It is preparation. The diamond is created under pressure. The sword is forged in fire. The leader is born in crisis. And the man or woman who understands this truth will endure every trial with gratitude, knowing that life is shaping them into someone capable of holding success when it finally arrives. Purpose is the fire that sustains discipline. Without purpose, discipline turns into drudgery. Belief turns into delusion, and clarity fades into dust. Most people fail because they never discover why they are here. They chase goals that were never truly theirs, borrowed dreams from their parents, society, or the opinions of others. And when the storms of life arrive, they abandon the journey because the dream was never rooted in their soul. Purpose is not given to you, it is discovered. It whispers in the depths of your heart, often drowned out by the noise of the world. Purpose is not always glamorous, but it is always powerful. It is what drove Martin Luther King Jr. to march, knowing the dangers, knowing the threats, but refusing to let fear silence his calling. Purpose is what drove Helen Keller, blind and deaf, to learn language and inspire millions, proving that the human spirit is mightier than any limitation. Most people fail because they never align their actions with their purpose. They work only for a paycheck, not for a vision. They grind without meaning, and the emptiness eventually crushes them. Success without purpose is failure wearing a mask. It looks impressive, but it feels hollow. But purpose without action is equally useless. And here lies another reason why so many fail. They never move. They live in endless preparation, perpetual hesitation, always waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. But the perfect moment does not exist. Action itself is the alchemy that transforms dreams into reality. Think of Walt Disney. He did not wait until he had the perfect investors, the perfect land, or the perfect approval. He acted. He drew sketches, built prototypes, pitched relentlessly, faced ridicule, rejection, and bankruptcy. Yet his relentless action turned a vision into an empire of imagination. Most people fail because they confuse intention with execution. They believe that wanting something is enough. They read books, attend seminars, make vision boards, and feel inspired. But inspiration without execution is like a seed never planted. Nothing grows. Action is the great divider. It separates the dreamers from the doers, the pretenders from the creators, the talkers from the builders. The world does not reward intentions. It rewards results, and results come only to those who act. Yet, even action alone is not enough, because the road to success is long and it will break the weak. This is why resilience is essential. Most people fail because they quit after the first rejection, the first setback, the first taste of failure. They expect a straight road, and when they find mountains, they turn back. But mountains are not obstacles. They are invitations to rise. Every failure is a lesson, every rejection a redirection, every setback a preparation. Resilience is the ability to take the punch, wipe the blood, and keep moving forward. Consider Edison once more. He did not call his thousands of failed experiments failures. He called them discoveries of ways that do not work. That is resilience. Not the absence of failure, but the refusal to be defined by it. Resilience is what allowed Nelson Mandela to survive 27 years in prison and still emerge with a spirit unbroken, ready to lead a divided nation toward unity. Resilience is what allowed Oprah Winfrey to rise from poverty, abuse, and rejection to build a legacy that has touched millions. Resilience is not a gift, it's a choice. And yet, even resilience must evolve, for the world is ever changing. Most people fail because they resist change. They cling to old habits, outdated methods, and fading comfort zones. They try to face new challenges with old tools and wonder why they are defeated. Adaptability is survival. It is the recognition that nothing stays the same. Technology changes, industries shift, opportunities move, and the successful are not those who complain, but those who adjust. Henry Ford revolutionized manufacturing with the assembly line, but had he clung stubbornly to one idea forever, innovation would have passed him by. Adaptability does not mean abandoning your purpose. It means finding new paths to express it. The river does not stop when it meets a rock. It bends, it carves, it flows around, but it never loses its direction toward the sea. Most people fail because they give up when their first plan fails. Instead of creating another, they mistake a closed door for a dead end, forgetting that success is rarely found on the first attempt. It is those who adapt, who pivot, who evolve, that endure. Purpose gives you direction. Action moves you forward. Resilience keeps you alive. Adaptability ensures you thrive in a world that never stops changing. Together, they form a shield, protecting you from the reasons most people fail. But even with all these qualities, one more element is needed, an element so often overlooked, yet so powerful that without it, success tastes bitter and fleeting. That element is gratitude. Gratitude is the secret most overlook. People chase wealth, chase recognition, chase the summit of achievement. And yet, when they arrive, they feel empty. Why? Because success without gratitude is like a banquet without taste. It fills the stomach, but starves the soul. Most people fail because they forget gratitude on the journey. They become so obsessed with the finish line that they despise the process. They curse the struggle, they complain about the effort, they resent the sacrifice. And in doing so, they poison the very soil from which their success must grow. Gratitude transforms the struggle into strength. It turns setbacks into teachers. It turns long nights into investments instead of burdens. The man or woman who can say, "I am grateful for this hardship, for it is shaping me into someone worthy of my vision," will never be broken. Andrew Carnegie once said that the man who dies rich dies disgraced. He understood that success without service, wealth without gratitude, achievement without contribution, these are hollow victories. Gratitude is not passive, it is active. It is expressed in humility, in generosity, in lifting others as you rise. And here lies another reason why so many fail: arrogance. They taste a small victory and believe themselves invincible. They forget the struggle that birthed them. They stop learning, stop growing, stop listening. History is filled with empires that collapsed not from external enemies, but from internal arrogance. Humility is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is knowing that no matter how much you achieve, you are always a student of life. Edison, after giving the world light, still saw himself as an experimenter, still hungry to learn. Carnegie, after building an empire of steel, devoted his fortune to education and libraries, knowing that knowledge must be passed on. The greatest are not those who stand tallest, but those who kneel to lift others. Mastery demands humility. Most people fail because they chase shortcuts, hacks, and quick fixes. They want instant results without enduring the apprenticeship of mastery. But greatness does not come quickly. It demands years of practice, repetition, and refinement. It demands the patience to sharpen your blade until it can cut through mountains. Think of Leonardo da Vinci, who spent decades studying anatomy, light, and mechanics, mastering details others ignored. Think of Michael Jordan, who practiced harder than anyone else, long after he was already the best. Success is never owned, it is rented, and the rent is due every single day. Most fail because they stop paying that rent. They achieve a little and grow comfortable. They believe yesterday's effort is enough for tomorrow's victories. But mastery is endless. The moment you stop growing, you begin to die. And so, when we ask again, why do most people fail at success? The answer becomes clear. They fail because they lack belief. They fail because their vision is vague. They fail because they cannot discipline themselves. They fail because they live without purpose, hesitate on action, crumble without resilience, resist adaptability, forget gratitude, reject humility, and abandon mastery. They fail because they expect the path of greatness to be smooth, when in reality it is carved through storms, fire, and sacrifice. But you, listening now, you have a choice. You can join the majority, drifting, complaining, envying, surrendering, or you can rise. You can claim the birthright that belongs to every human being willing to pay the price of success. The question is not, can you succeed? The potential already lives within you. The question is, will you endure what most will not? Will you hold belief when the world calls you a fool? Will you act with discipline when others sleep? Will you carry your purpose through rejection, failure, and ridicule? Will you remain humble when victory comes and grateful when struggle tests you? Because success is not a mystery. It has always belonged to the few who dare to live by these principles. The few who become visionaries, warriors, and servants all at once. The few who live not just to succeed, but to transform themselves into the kind of people success cannot resist. Understand this: you are not here by accident. You are not hearing these words by chance. Deep inside, you know there is more within you. You know you were not created to drift with the masses, but to rise, to lead, to create, to inspire. The road will not be easy. It never has been. But easy is not what you were born for. You were born for greatness. You were born to endure the fire, to bend the world with your vision, to carve your name into the stone of history. And when you face that final test, the moment where most people quit, where most people fail, remember this truth: success does not belong to the talented, the lucky, or the privileged. It belongs to the relentless. Be relentless, because that is why most people fail, and the reason you will not. And if these words have awakened something within you, if they have lit a fire in your spirit, then share this flame with others. Subscribe, follow, and spread this message so the world remembers. Success is possible, but only for those who refuse to fail themselves. This is your time, your journey, your destiny. Rise and claim it.